Okay, everybody, so today's topic is trickle-down versus trickle-up economics. Okay, so let's start out with your thoughts on this. What one would you prefer in a system?
In a system, I would prefer a trickle-up economics theory.
Yes.
It tends to work better. With trickle-down, it's a good theory, but unfortunately, people at the top of businesses who get the money give their CEOs Christmas bonuses instead of paying their workers extra, which they're supposed to do, but that doesn't work. I mean, if you give a tax cut to the guy who owns Joe's Pizza down the street, he's going to hire some extra person, maybe buy more equipment. That's going to help out the economy. Maybe just a little bit at first, but after a while it'll start to build up and help more. With trickle-down economics, you give money to the high-up people with the theory that they'll spend it and it'll basically trickle down to the factory workers. It's a good theory, but it doesn't work. It really doesn't.
Very rarely.
Very rarely does it work. And it would work if human beings didn't have a greedy nature.
If all men were angels, government would not be necessary.
That's true. In trickle-down economics, what happens is instead of trickling down to the factory worker, it trickles down one or two levels to the CEOs and the CFOs who get big Christmas bonuses or big Thanksgiving bonuses. I mean, it really does not help out our economy other than giving the rich more money to go on vacation to the Bahamas. I mean, that's my opinion. What do you think about it?
I happen to agree with you. I mean, we've tried it in this country where we say, "Hey, Mr. Big CEO, here's some cash. Now, when I give you this money, it's yours. You can put it in your pocket. But I think it would be nice if you hired someone else. You're a business owner. Your whole thing is money, 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 money. When you're in the big business and you're running that up, that tends to be all you think about, and mostly just that's what's running through your mind. You know, I was looking to put in a new pool, so thanks. That tends to be a reaction. But if you're going for a small business owner, now most small business owners are very friendly with the community. They're, you know, I mean, you have someone come in and say, well, I'm out of a job and I need help. They'll do it, even if they can't afford it, they'll try to give you a job in most cases. They're usually very friendly people running the small businesses. Not always, I mean, you never...
Yeah, but
you give them money, and I mean, first of all, you give money to the guy in the big business. He's already set. His business does not need this money. It's a self-sustaining business, but he wants that money. Small business, they need that money for the business.
Oh yeah, I totally.
So that's what they put it into, and that's and it helps a lot. I mean,
a small business owner will take that money, the money that he saves from taxes, or the money that he's granted from the government, and he'll spend it to better his business, hire more workers, help improve his community around him. Maybe if you're only giving 3 teenagers minimum wage jobs, it still helps improve the economy. I mean, the teenagers, they get more money, they go buy more things, the money goes to the companies get more money, economy's better. That's how the economy works. I mean, with trickle-down, I'm not going to go on a rant about that again. I've already said that twice. It's a good idea, but it unfortunately doesn't work because people are corrupt.
They're greedy. It's greed.
And stereotypically, the small business owner tends to be a nicer fella who's going to spend his money for the betterment of his community, whether it's giving more people jobs or buying equipment that will help his company, while the big CEO, again, he might help his company, but he's going to do nothing to help the factory workers below that would, if they say got $2 or $3 more an hour, that would help them greatly. That would better the economy. That would extremely improve things. But the problem is, you got these big CEO fat cats making $2 million a year, while the factory worker is making $15 an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, how can they justify that? And they don't care.
They don't need to justify that. They don't care.
They don't care about us.
That's what they want.
If you give them money, they're not going to do anything good with it.
I mean,
and this is all stereotypically. I'm saying there can
there's
there
exceptions,
can be
definitely.
bad small business owners, and there can be good CEOs.
Yeah,
but this is just what typically we see in society.
Yeah.
I mean,
the average
line. I mean, I've met really turdy, mean business owners from around my community, and I've also met some really nice, generous, rich people who give away all of their money to church or...
Like Bill Gates, for example. He donates more...
Yeah, philanthropy kind of people.
He donates more money than the second richest man in the world is even worth.
Oh, exactly.
Like, he's said.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean... I mean, if you're, it's kind of an interesting thing to think about, that if you raise taxes and stuff like that on a guy who's running a business, he's actually going to start cutting jobs. It will affect the people on the bottom. Yes. But if you start giving him tax breaks and loading them up with money, he's just going to keep it. It's not going to affect them at all. Kind of ironic. Interesting thing to think about.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
But, to get on a topic, a lot of people, when they think of trickle-down, they think of Reagan, which is really incorrect in a sense, because when you think of Reagan, the average person thinks of Reagan, they think of a big business guy who gave cuts to the GM CEOs for millions of dollars. But what he really did, he didn't give the GM CEO tax cuts. He gave tax cuts to the guy who owns the CVS down the corner. And that's why Reaganomics worked. I mean, and you hear all these Republicans today talking about the good old days of Reagan, how Reaganomics was amazing. But they don't do it.
Yeah.
They do the exact opposite of what Reagan did. They're giving tax cuts in millions of dollars and bailouts to these big companies that went bankrupt. And I hate bailouts, by the way. I mean, that's totally socialist.
Yeah.
I mean, if a company goes bankrupt, the company goes bancrupt. The government shouldn't get involved. And even if it does, it shouldn't regulate how the government...
there are some occasions where a business is so big and so important that its failure would devastate the entire economy of that country.
Too big to fail.
Yeah, exactly. And in that case, I could see a slight helping, but there shouldn't be these handouts like...
Oh, not like a $5 million handout, but a tax cut or something.
Yeah, like what? Let's just see if we can increase your business a little bit.
Increase your business and deregulation.
We'll put the word out.
Tax cuts.
I mean, but at the same time...
Free advertisement, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. I mean... It's
interesting.
Yeah.
But... That's it for today.
Yeah.
Trickle down versus trickle up.